Hey everybody, how's it going? Seth Williams here. Thanks for joining us today. So, for a while now, I've been thinking of ways to teach some of the latest and greatest things about AI to the RE Tipster audience. This is something that I've been using a lot ever since November of 2022 when ChatGPT became a thing and kind of changed the world. And if you're not aware, and I realize some people out there may not be aware of this, AI is a huge deal right now. I mean, you've probably heard about it in passing. Maybe you're actively using it yourself. But ever since ChatGPT did come out about a year and a half ago, we've seen this crazy rapid advancement of this technology in ways that any ordinary person can use it. But the interesting thing is, most people still aren't using it. I just saw an article 2 weeks ago. There was a study from Reuters Institute and Oxford University that surveyed over 12,000 people across 6 countries, and it revealed that all of the AI hype that's been generated out there still has not percolated down to real world use for now. Only a tiny minority, like we're talking 7% of people in the US and 2% of people in the UK, said that they use the most well-known AI tool, ChatGPT, on a daily basis. And a significant portion of the people in the survey in all the countries hadn't even heard of ChatGPT. A figure that was like kind of blew my mind. Like, seriously, how do you not know about this? But to me, what it said was that even though I use ChatGPT and a lot of AI tools every single day, there's a lot of people out there who either don't know about this or are not utilizing what really is a superpower in their business and personal lives. And it's kind of, it's hard to stand by and just see that happening. I know what a difference it's made in my business, just in making decisions, in coming up with ideas, and helping out with day-to-day work. I mean, the list just goes on and on and on. And a lot of people don't see it and they're not using it. And I thought we got to bring more awareness of this to the world so that people realize what they can do. And in a lot of cases, they can do this for free. And even when it does cost money, it is a laughably inexpensive cost to get this kind of AI help. So I want to explain all this to the world. But the more I thought about this, I was thinking, I need somebody who is just as smart, if not smarter than I am at this stuff. And they use it just as much, if not more than I do. And they use it in ways that I don't necessarily use it. So they can kind of come at it from a different perspective. And I was kind of scanning the horizon of all the different people that I know. I do know several people that are using ChatGPT every day and different AI tools like Claude and Gemini and all this stuff. But it was at the Land Unconference a couple of months ago when I got into this conversation with my friend Mike Balcom, and I was just listening to him go on and on and on about all the ways that he is using it in his business and for his team. And he had a lot of great ideas I hadn't even thought of. And he was super excited about it. I could see the passion and the energy coming through. And the more I could think about it, it's like, you know what? This guy is a seasoned expert in the land investing business and also in the field of artificial intelligence and its applications in real estate. If there was ever a guy to work with to tell the world about how they can be using this, maybe it's Mike. So I reached out to Mike and I said, hey, Mike, what would you think about putting together a webinar presentation with me? And, you can share your expertise, help people understand how they can be using AI tools, and kind of just open people's minds a little bit if they're not already aware of all the things they can do with it. He said, yeah, absolutely. And I think a lot of people in the RE Tipster audience, and maybe if you're not even normally in the RE Tipster audience, you just happen to stumble across this video. So maybe you're already using it to some extent. I think a lot of people probably already are, but they're not seeing the full scope of what can happen. They're just kind of using the tip of the iceberg. Some people think maybe this is just for content generation or for writing emails or something. And the answer is yes and yes, but it's so much more than that. And we're going to talk about that for the next 45 minutes or so. Mike put together an awesome presentation where he outlines a lot of this stuff. I think it's going to be great. So these are insights and expertise that can make a huge difference. So I hope you'll stick with us. And Mike, welcome. You want to take it away?
Absolutely. So thank you for having me, man. I am so pumped about this. I really cannot tell you a day that has gone by that I have not used ChatGPT that day. I use it every day in so many different ways in my business and my personal life. And just like you, I'm very shocked to see more people out there in our industry and just in the world in general are not using this constantly. So very happy to bring this in front of more people. And
Yeah,
with that, let's get rocking and rolling, man.
cool.
So, ChatGPT, artificial intelligence, it's amazing. It really is. So, first things I want to let you all know is this presentation, it's made for educational uses. All right. Information provided is based on my experience, Seth's experience, things we've learned in the space with real estate and everything else. We want to give you the most up-to-date information we can. With that being said, we're not attorneys, we're not financial advisors, we're not computer scientists. So anything you use this for, please use it with a grain of salt. It's on you, but like I said, not a day goes by that I do not use this. So excited to present this to you all. So what are we going to talk about today? We're going to talk about what in the world even is this ChatGPT? Really, what can it do? Like, what do you mean it can do more than just write emails and make online content for me? Really, what is the difference between a free version and a paid version? How can my team use it? How can I use it in my own personal life? How can I use this custom GPT? Like, what is that? I don't have a master's in computer science or anything. There's some cool extensions out there. There's some great custom GPTs, and we can even make our own. It is insane and way easier than one may even believe. So with that too, what is this? The funny thing about it, AI has been around for years and years and years. I think it first came up in about the 60s. The reason ChatGPT is blowing up is because now it's used by the masses. Anyone has access to it. And it's just built on billions and billions of languages. And that's why they call it a large language model. It's able to think and understand things. It's absolutely insane. When it was launched in November of 2022, it became the fastest growing software application ever by January of 2023. Its ability to just chat with you, understand context, generate human-like text. You can use it so much in real estate, in your personal life. I'm addicted. So what exactly can you do with this? We keep talking about it can do more than the stuff, but what is it? And I will tell you, the things I'm about to tell you, I'm actually just scratching the surface. There's so much more that it can do. But some basic things that it can do is it understands language and can generate language as well. These are used, my team uses this constantly for marketing material, client communications, email, like Seth was talking about. But it also can stay up to date in the current world, especially if you have the paid version. It can now surf the internet. It can look at legal regulations. It can help you with best practices. It can tell you ways things are trending. The ability for it to solve problems is insane. It can look at market analysis, property valuations, and more things like that. From there, too, you can use it to write code. Now, you might be thinking, like, I don't know how to write code. You don't have to. I don't either. But I will tell you now, I could probably get an undergrad in software engineering, and actually can debug other code written just using AI. And most of the time, I don't even understand what I'm looking at. But when I plug it into different things, it works amazingly. I'll tell you too, Seth. This is a fun thing I use it for all the time. A lot of people don't think about this. I use it for translations.
Oh,
When
yeah.
I go to another country, a lot of people are like, oh, Google Translate. Google Translate's great. But the issue is Google Translate translates things verbatim.
Mhm.
What's wrong with that is, I don't know about you, Seth, but I've had the embarrassing experience where I will translate something, show it to them, and then they just start laughing at me and look at me funny. And then I have to reword and do stuff like that. If I have ChatGPT translate it, it will translate it into conversational language for them. I can show them my phone and they understand and point me in the right direction. And that way I can order dinner that night. It's amazing.
I don't know if you've heard of 11 Labs, but it kind of takes translation to a next level where it doesn't just translate the text, but like you can clone your own voice so that it's like my voice speaking in Italian and making all the adjustments necessary to actually say the same thing contextually and do this in like 5 seconds. It's crazy. So, yeah, anyway, just one of millions of examples of where AI has taken the world.
Absolutely. Yes. My team loves to use it whenever we get Spanish speakers coming in or buyers interested there.
Yeah.
It's great to be able to just email back and forth with them when nobody on my team knows Spanish right now.
Yeah.
So, I mean, don't get me wrong. I did get an A+ in Spanish too when I was a junior in high school, but I can really tell you I want some French fries and ask where the bathroom is. It is amazing. It also learns and adapts to who you are, which is really cool. It has a memory. It can remember things going on. You can have it build text-based games for you, whether you want your kids to play some games, you want to do some team bonding. The creative writing's out of this world. What's really nice too is if you ever have something really long written down, I will take a picture of it, upload it into ChatGPT, and I'll say, can you type this out for me? Can you look up this model number on my refrigerator to tell me what is wrong with this thing?
Hmm.
It is great for that. Large amounts of data, you can just pour into it and say, explain this to me. I am so confused. Teach it to me like I'm a 3-year-old, and it will. It is absolutely insane. It's great for education. And I'll talk about how my team uses it for education later on. And the also tools integrated with it are really out of this world. You have things like Dolly, which is great for image generation. It's also able to surf the internet. It can also use coding like Python, Java, you name it, it can do it. Anything else insane you use this for, Seth? I haven't even mentioned yet.
Well, interesting how you're talking about like the language translation piece of it. So I've even had this when I get emails from people in English. I just don't understand what they're telling me. A few months back, I got an email from an electrician who was using all this confusing terminology, telling me, "Yeah, we're gonna wire it up in like with a series, and then we're gonna home run it." And it was like he was speaking Greek to me. I don't know what he was talking about. And I copied and pasted his email into ChatGPT and said, "Hey, I got this message from my electrician. I don't understand what he's saying. Can you translate this so the common person can understand it?" And it totally made me understand that home running. That means where you make one circuit that connects and goes all the way in the circle. And the series means, just explain everything. And so I didn't have to email the electrician back and say, "What the heck are you talking about?" I could just use ChatGPT and understand it immediately. So it's one of those things like you just have to know that that's an option. Like realize ChatGPT can help with that. And most people just don't realize that. They don't fully understand all the potential uses out there.
I love that example. We do the same thing with legal descriptions. We're looking at them.
Mm.
And we're trying to figure out like how big really is this property? And GIS says it's 15 acres. And then you look at this really long legal description and you're like, I don't even know where to begin on this legal description. And I have some buddies that know how to read them. I pride them. It is just not my cup of tea. I plug it into there and it says, based on this legal description, it's 15.25 acres. And I'm blown away. It can interpret all of that and explain to me exactly where property lines start and
Yeah.
everything else.
Yeah. I mean,
It
when you
is
consider
insane.
if you get any kind of written message that you just don't understand for whatever reason, maybe the deliverer of that message worded it poorly, maybe they're speaking another language, maybe it's like legalese or industry jargon that you don't understand, whatever it is, you can use ChatGPT to help figure that out. I've heard they're even using AI now to figure out what like ancient manuscripts in long forgotten languages are saying, because it can figure out consistencies and that kind of thing to make sense of it. So, and again, this is like a teeny tiny little segment of everything AI can do.
That's amazing. We'll know how they made the pyramids pretty soon.
Yeah, I hope so.
So, should you pay for this? Should you get it for free? Really, what are your thoughts on this? I think both options are great. The free version, OpenAI is very big about getting this into the hands of everyone, no matter where you come from, what your walk of life is, what your capabilities are. It wants you to be able to use it. It recently released ChatGPT 4 to the open public. It released custom GPTs to them. You can use the free version and it's great. The issue with the free version is so many people are using it. It's going to be the slowest. It's going to limit how many responses it'll give you a day. as well as if tons of people are using it, you're going to be the first one to say, sorry, we're at capacity. So then you also have the plus and the team. Plus and the team are really one and the same. The only difference is the team will give you more inquiries a day. Plus you can make some custom GPTs and you can really oversee what's going on within your search history and stuff like that for your team there. But it is 5 times faster. You have access to ChatGPT 4.0. It's $20 a month.
It's insane. I was actually, maybe I was talking with you about it, Mike. If you know how to use this stuff and if you use it consistently and just have even a halfway decent understanding of what it can do for you, if they were to change this to $2,000 a month, like I would totally pay for that. Like this is by miles and miles and miles, the best $20 a month I've ever spent on, I think, anything when you just consider how much value is wrapped up in this. So it's an incredible deal. And the fact that you can get a lot of this for free, it's a no-brainer. But again, it kind of goes back to, do you understand it? Do you realize everything you can do with it? Because that's kind of where the goal is just understanding the premise.
Yeah, I mean, so you're telling me, Seth, for $20 a month, I can have a computer scientist, Einstein, doctors, medical records, everything almost written in human history in my pocket with someone that'll just interpret all of it?
Yeah, you can basically have an employee who's smarter than any other human in the world for $20 a month.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
We love it to death. So how can a team really utilize this? What Seth said is so true. It's smarter than any human being out there. Because of that, I'm a big fan of Dan Martell, Buy Back Your Time. They use the 1-3-1 method. What that is if you have a problem, you can come to me with your problem, but then you need to tell me 3 potential solutions and then what solution you think is best. I use that in my business. An issue I had in my business for a bit is my team, they had an issue coming up with 3 potential solutions. Now, the go-to in my business, we've totally changed that system and process. If you have a question, before it ever gets to me with 1-3-1, ask ChatGPT. It is smarter than me. It'll give you a better answer than I probably will. And you can go to it for either potential solutions if you still want to come to me for it, or just really what way to go. Okay, Seth, I'm going to be honest with you. This is almost embarrassing to say. But before our meeting today, I was thinking, what in the world should I wear? And I really had no idea. And I'm like, should I put on like a collared shirt? Should I just wear like a black t-shirt? And I'm like, a data dude would just wear like a black tee, but I want to show your audience respect, and I want to look nice and professional, but I don't want to come off as some like know-it-all or prep or something. Mm-hmm. And I asked ChatGPT and it said, based on what you're talking about today and everything, you should wear a nice collared shirt. It would be the better option of the two, and gave me a bunch of reasons why as well. I was like, wow, this just saved my girlfriend and I a huge fight on what I should wear and what looks good. Like, this is amazing. Yeah. Almost any question, boom, there's the solution.
Yeah. Yeah. It's interesting. A lot of times, I already know the answer, but like, I just need somebody else to like corroborate or agree with me on that, or just like support my line of thinking. Like even before we got on the call here today, Mike, I was almost kind of asking you for permission on certain things. Like, what do you think? Should we do it this way or that way? And ChatGPT is great for that. Kind of like this shirt decision you're making. Like, it's probably an easy decision, but like you kind of feel paralyzed until somebody just tells you, yep, you're right. Go ahead. And as simple as it is, ChatGPT is great for that. And even if you're like trying to write a message or a piece of content or anything, it's a similar thing where just looking at a blinking cursor on a blank screen, like it's like staring into this like, death stare. You just don't know what to do. Like I need something to go with. And ChatGPT is awesome for that too. It'll give you very, very good information to start with, and you can either keep it or start rearranging it a little bit. But at least you can get past that paralysis mode and start moving.
And that actually brings us up to the next thing my team uses it for all the time. We use it for writing listing descriptions. Kind of as you said, Seth, not everyone in the world is using this right now. It's gotten to the point now too where we used to hire realtors, and realtors would write amazing listing descriptions. And sometimes they weren't great, but truth be told, I'm a horrible writer. I would never know. It's now gotten to the point where whenever we hire agents, Before they have one of our properties go live, I say, hey, you need approval from my team first. And what my team does is look at what they wrote, plug it into ChatGPT and say, is this good or not for listing description in this area? And it'll rewrite the whole thing. It's great at SEO, understanding what sells, and you can really cater it around that. And with that too, you can cater it around emails. Very simple to understand really what's going on. You can read the person's email before, or even a whole chain of emails just to write a great response to it all, and can pick up on other jokes you said before, whether this is a professional context, a humorous context, or something else in between. Heck, it can even add emojis to it, which is really cool. We use it a lot in our business to also analyze text and our calls. We will actually plug our calls or our text into ChatGPT later on when we're going over our team's information, say, how did they do on this? Or how should I handle this in the future? So we love it for that. But wait, there's more. There's actually so much more, Seth. That is insane. This doesn't even scrape the surface. I say that like this is the last slide, but we use it to set up Google Sheets. We use it to set up formulas. I used to really pride myself on being able to write a good Excel formula. I will tell you now, I am like Jedi level of writing formulas as long as I have ChatGPT handy. And I will write these really complex things, or sometimes a friend of mine will send me something in business, share a doc with me, and I'm looking at one of their formulas. I'm like, I do not understand this at all. And I'll plug it into ChatGPT and have it explain it to me. Or plug the whole Excel sheet in there and just say, hey, I need this column to do this instead. What should I write here? And it'll tell me. Absolutely amazing.
Yeah.
Absolutely insane.
Yeah, this was one of the first things I ever discovered just in playing around with ChatGPT like over a year ago, because I used to get delinquent tax lists and they would just be a complete mess, just like in the most janky organizational structure that didn't even make sense. And to rearrange it in a usable fashion would literally take like 8 hours, like crazy amounts of time. And ChatGPT, you can plug it in there and it'll fix it in seconds, like doing exactly what you want. Like just that alone is worth insane amounts of time and money. And it just comes down to understanding like how do you prompt it, or just being aware of the ways that you can use it. And there's a ton of uses out there. Sometimes it just boils down to your own creativity and what you can think of.
We also use it for analyzing properties. If we're looking at something or looking to buy something, should we buy this? Is it in the path of progress? Are population rates going up here? Are people moving here? Are people leaving here? Is job growth happening here? It's great to plug things into that and just say, yes, no, what do you think? It'll help us out with that. This is also something we use it for all the time. For those of you who use Land ID, formerly known as MapRight, you can get soil reports on there. These soil reports, they are so cool to look at. And I will tell you, I cannot tell you the first thing about Braxton cherry silt soil. I don't even know what that means. They could just be making up stuff here for all I know. And it talks about what kind of crops can be put on it. I don't understand this. I just want to know, can I build a house? Is this a good property to buy? Can I get a septic tank on this? I will just copy and paste this in ChatGPT or just screenshot it like you see here and plug it in and say, you think I can build a home on this? Yes or no? And it can break it all down for me. It can go very in depth for me, or I can just really prompt it as simple as, do you believe I can build a house on this? Answer yes or no. And it'll just tell me yes or no. I absolutely love that. All these things I didn't understand before, I still don't understand, but I know how to move forward with the information because chat does. So what else? How can I do this in my own productivity? I will tell you, I used to have all these pre-written agreements, templates, addendums. I haven't wrote one in over a year. I plug in my contract and I have ChatGPT write my addendums. It is amazing. And it knows how to write it to protect me better legally than I do. It also understands the difference in laws state to state. So I love it for that reason.
I've actually got a quick example on that too. So this is about a year or so ago. I was trying to put together an option contract, and I wanted to do something original, something that wasn't out there. I wanted it to be one page, pretty simple. and I had my attorney put it together, and he was, I don't know if it was intentional or not, but he was just wording things in a way that was like unnecessarily wordy and complicated. Like I would get to the end of the clause and not even know what I just read. It was very confusing. And what I could have done is go back to him and said, hey, rewrite this again and again and again, and paid him $600 an hour to do that. But instead, I didn't even talk to him about it. I just copied and pasted the parts of the contract that I didn't like. I plugged it into ChatGPT and I said, I want you to say the exact same thing, but make this shorter and more succinct and easier to understand. And it did it. And the end result was much easier to understand. And I updated the contract and sent it to my attorney. And I just said, what do you think about this? Does this do the same thing? My attorney said, yeah, that works. And he didn't spend his time doing it. ChatGPT did this for me for free. So yeah, it's pretty awesome.
That's amazing. I'd be careful, Seth. Your attorney might think you got another attorney at that rate. That is absolutely awesome. We love it for that reason. We really do. We also use it to write code. This sounds very complex, and it's really not. When I do a mailer, we used to set it up and we used to control find airports, and anything that had airports in it, we delete that row. And anything that had government or GVT, we delete that row. All these different things. And I went to chat and I just said, I always do this and it takes so much time. What should I do? And we use Google Sheets, and it said, why don't you just make a Google script? And I said, what is that? And it told me it's just essentially writing a little macro or writing some code that will do all of this for you. It's a repetitive task that it can do. And I said, that's great. Write me one. This is what I remove. And it did. And then I had all this amazing code on my computer. And I said, this is awesome. What do I do with this? And then it told me how to actually insert it into a Google Sheet. And I will tell you, things that used to take my team about 3 to 4 hours to do data-wise now takes them 30 seconds every time. And they just use the same code again and again. I mean, that alone has saved us countless hours. It is insane. And I don't have to understand how to read any of this code at all. It can. And if there's a bug in the code or anything changes, it'll also help me debug the code. Love it for that. Also love it for reviewing contracts. We work in a lot of different areas, different states. People send you in different contracts. I just want to know, what are the risks? What are the rewards? What's the purchase price? What's the escrow? Make it all very simple for me. You sign an agreement with an agent. There's so much extra jargon they have to put in there legally to protect themselves, which I understand, but most of it just doesn't apply to me. I just need, the basic of everything. So we will use it tons of times for contracts, writing, reviewing, and adding addendums. And I will just say, what are the risks here? What am I missing? And it can let me know. It is amazing with that. And then there's everything else we are not even talking about, Seth. Everything else we're not even talking about.
There's a lot.
Yes. I mean, I got my blood work done recently. And of course, you go get your blood work done, and then you're going to follow up with your doctor to talk about your blood work and this, that, and the other. Well, they gave me a printout of my blood work there. And when I'm looking at this piece of paper, I don't understand what any of these numbers or letters or anything mean. I took a picture and put it into ChatGPT. It explained my blood work to me.
Wow.
I didn't have to wait 2 weeks for an appointment. I knew right then and there. I had less than 6 hours to live. And that's when I learned prompting is so important in ChatGPT. And I realized, 6 minutes, 6 hours. Oh, that's about 60 years. Okay, it won't tell you when you're going to die yet, but it is amazing what it can do. Absolutely. We use it all the time.
Yeah, I've actually heard of, and again, not recommending this for everybody. Big legal, health, financial disclaimer here. But I know people who use ChatGPT as their therapist, as their prescription recommender, as their attorney, as their counselor, as like all kinds of different stuff. And obviously, ChatGPT is none of those things. It's not a licensed professional, but that's not saying people don't do it. And even if you don't like take it word for word as like, yes, this is correct, this is the truth, it's something. And it's very often correct about a lot of things. And sometimes it's even smarter than the professionals are. So I don't know. It's just, again, that's not necessarily what we're recommending that you do, but I'm just letting you know for context, like it's on that level of intelligence that it has that kind of insight.
Okay, so best story I have heard with ChatGPT so far. This family took their dog to the vet. You know, the dog was just acting a little weird. They didn't know what was going on and things were just off. Took it to the vet. Vet looked at it, said, I think everything's fine. You're just overreacting. Let's give it a couple of weeks, but we'll run some blood work just to make sure. Ran the blood work, looked at it, everything seemed fine. They didn't like this. Their dog was just still acting weird. So they went to get a second opinion by ChatGPT, plug in the blood work. ChatGPT looks at the blood work. And I think what a lot of people forget is your veterinarian, your doctor, they're very smart. They're going to understand things that ChatGPT can't because ChatGPT is not in the room with you. The difference, though, is every single thing they learned in medical school, ChatGPT still has access to right now, has memorized, and every new medical record coming out, everything published, ChatGPT is looking at and has it in its hands memorized. ChatGPT saw the blood work of the dog and said, this dog needs surgery right away. You know, this is just my opinion. And it will always prompt you to say, I'm not a professional, go get a second opinion. They drove to a different vet, had to have a immediate surgery that day, you know, save the pet's life. It probably wasn't going to make it the next 48 hours just because they got a second opinion by chat.
That's
I
crazy.
mean, it's amazing. I mean, you know, to save your dog's life just by uploading some lab work into ChatGPT just to say, hey, is everything okay here? You know, you go to WebMD and everything will kill you. You go to ChatGPT and you'll actually understand what's going on.
Do I hear you correctly when you call it Chad?
Chat. No,
Chad?
am I saying Chad?
Well, me and my wife call it Chad all the time, like CHAD, like that's his name. So I don't know if you're doing that too. But
Oh,
if you
I
ever
call
hear
it
me say
chat.
Chad, just so you know, I'm talking about Chat GPT.
Oh, that's hilarious. No, me and my team, we call it chat.
Just
You
chat.
know,
Okay,
just like,
gotcha.
yeah, talking to chat.
That makes
Chat
more sense.
GPT.
Yeah.
Oh, I like Chad.
Yeah.
You know, you can name it whatever you want, Seth. You pay for it. It's yours, baby. All
All right,
right.
man.
What other advances can you do with this? What's really, really cool with ChatGPT is you can make these things called custom GPTs. And you might be thinking, this sounds very complex. It's really not that hard. It's very, very simple. But besides that, there's hundreds, if not thousands, of people that have already made tons of these that have released them to the public. Imagine wanting advice from Abraham Lincoln, and you
Ooh,
get all
interesting.
of Abraham Lincoln's books, all of his writings, and plug it into a custom GPT. Now you can essentially have a conversation with Lincoln, or as much as we know about him, or look at all contract laws, you know, plug it into it. That is really what these custom GPTs are. They're functioned to be just a specific niche in any marketplace you want. So we'll use it for real estate law. We'll use it for SEO specialist, things like that. And they're readily available. They're all over the place. You can even use it for free on the free version. Like that's how OpenAI is about this. Is absolutely amazing. So we'll use that. Some of the ones we love to use is AI PDF. You know, this is more of an old school one. If you have the paid version, you can now just plug a PDF into there. We also have it make designs for us. You ever want a flow of really what does it look like from the beginning of your marketing to actually buying a property, selling a property, and everything else in between? Have it make a nice diagram. Have it make your flow chart. Have it make your accountability chart. I mean, it's endless, all the things you can do with it. And there's also an advisory board, GPT. That's what I use a lot. You know, I will go to and just say, I'm thinking about implementing this. What do you think? And then it will respond to me as if it's an HR specialist, as if it's an attorney, as if it's a visionary of the company, and everything else in between. And they'll start bouncing ideas off of each other. I can see it in front of me. And then they'll say, yeah, I think this is a good idea, but this over here is a better idea. And then tell me exactly how to implement that. It's amazing. I sometimes just pull it up. It can talk to you now, which is great if you have the paid version. So I'll pull up the talking version when I'm in the car if I have a business idea and just start chatting back and forth with an idea I have. What am I not thinking about here? Is this a genius idea or the worst idea in the world? It is just endless
Is that
what it
a,
can do.
custom GPT that you made, Mike, or is there like a like an existing advisory board GPT that you found somewhere?
There is an existing one
Okay,
that I found. Well,
pretty cool.
I'm
Uh,
happy to share it with you.
That thing Mike just mentioned there in passing about talking to the mobile app. So this is actually a pretty huge deal. A lot of folks I know that use ChatGPT regularly don't even really know they can do this with the mobile app, but it's just this ability to verbally speak to it. Sometimes I kind of get like fatigue with typing stuff out. I usually find when I'm trying to be very intentional and say something very specific, typing is usually the best way to do it. But sometimes I just want to like stream of conscious talk something through with somebody. And the app is amazing at like understanding what you're saying and replying in a way that sounds strikingly human. It just feels like you're talking to a normal person. And I think you need the pro plan to do. I mean, I might be wrong about that, but
Yes.
do you?
Right now
Okay.
you do.
Okay. But it's pretty awesome.
Yeah, my team uses it now to role play.
Yeah. It's
They will
perfect for
role
that.
play with ChatGPT, and ChatGPT will give them better feedback than I will
Yeah.
at how they handled it.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
Hmm.
Like I said, there's custom GPTs that are available for free, and then you can also make your own, which is very, very simple to do also. So with all of this, what's going on, Seth?
So I hope your minds have been opened. Maybe your minds have been blown a little bit. Kind of depends on where you're coming from. I know some people on this call, maybe they've been using ChatGPT for about as long as we have, and some of you maybe haven't tinkered around with it at all yet. But as we wrap this up, I wanted to share something pretty exciting that Mike and I have put quite a bit of time into putting together. I should also mention that ChatGPT is not the only chatbot out there that does this. There's Claude, there's Gemini, there's Perplexity, there's Grok, there's all kinds of other tools out there. And we want to help people understand this and not just talk about what it can do, but actually show you how this works, like how you can start right now getting these answers for very little money and getting huge outsized results. And once you understand how to do this stuff, and it's really not hard, it's something anybody can do. It's just a matter of being aware of what the options are. So Mike and I are launching a very comprehensive 4-week guided course called ChatGPT Unleashed. And this course is designed to teach you everything you need to know about maximizing your use of ChatGPT and other AI tools to become 10 to 100 times more productive in both your personal and your professional life. And no, I'm not exaggerating when I say that. I know it probably kind of sounds hyperbolic, but I'm serious. Like this is totally attainable if you know how to use it. And, while our focus is on real estate investors and land investors, that's what both of our backgrounds are pretty strong in. The skills and insights you're going to gain are invaluable for any working professional, or even if you want to use it personally. My wife and I just planned a trip to Italy in like 30 seconds just by telling ChatGPT what our budget was and where we're going to go and the dates we're going to be there and just very basic details. And it gave us like everything a travel advisor would have given us. So it's amazing what you can do here, but we want to actually show you how to apply all the stuff that we just talked about in this presentation and a lot more. Like I said, it's going to be broken up into 4 weeks. We're going to meet once a week on some live calls where Mike and I are going to show you in real time the exact prompts that we're using and whatever results we get back. How do we continue prompting ChatGPT to get to the bottom of what we want? Because that's where some people kind of fall off the boat here, is where they might open up ChatGPT, they have this idea of what they want, and they tell ChatGPT, and the first response they get maybe isn't quite totally there. And they kind of just throw their hands up and they're like, well, okay, it doesn't work. I got to move on. But that's only the beginning. The power is in the follow-up prompting and continuing to clarify and refine and tell ChatGPT what you actually want and get more specific and ask it to do a deep dive and give you step-by-step instructions. And whatever you're trying to do, it can do it. You just have to keep pushing at it. And we're going to show you how to do that. And we're going to get a lot into, again, like the real world applications and how you can actually pull all this stuff off. And we're even going to talk about some of the other AI tools out there, like, for example, Claude. It's a lot like ChatGPT, but it's also very different in other ways. And I use Claude almost as much as I use ChatGPT, but it's for certain types of tasks that I think Claude is better at doing than ChatGPT is. And Claude is a very similar thing where it's free to use, or there's also a $20 a month option. And it's an amazing tool. It can do all kinds of amazing things. We're also going to talk about other tools that are super helpful in this, like Fathom. It's something that I know both Mike and I use to record Zoom calls. It does an amazing job of transcribing them and summarizing them with neat bullet points. It's an awesome tool. Things like 11 Labs, if you want to create audio files and very realistic sounding voices, or even translate what you're saying to other languages. Things like Perplexity, which is a Chrome extension that can add on to whatever you're browsing on the internet, and it can quickly summarize any website you're looking at. It just goes on. And we want a really good platform to do a deep dive and help change people's lives so they can see the world through a new lens and see everything that's possible once they're aware of what they can do with these AI tools. So this full course, this 4-week guided tour that we're going to be doing, it's going to have intensive training and live Q&A sessions, and it's going to cost $997. And this is a very small investment for the immense value it can bring to your professional and personal life. And if you want to learn more about it, there's going to be a link below or to the side or somewhere. You should see it by this time. Click on the link. You can go to the checkout page and sign up if you're interested in this. And honestly, this is not something I have ever done, and I don't know if I'm ever going to do it again. Mike, I don't know about you. I don't know if you've read anything like this, but I think we both have a lot of passion for this because we've seen it firsthand in our lives and the huge difference it has made. And again, both in time savings and in growing our businesses and in making more money. Like, it's kind of mind blowing. It's kind of like if we were trying to go back 30 years ago and live our lives without the internet, or like live your daily life without an iPhone or an Android phone in your pocket. Like, things would be a lot harder, a lot less convenient. And this is that kind of revolution going on in the world right now, where things are attainable now that just weren't attainable a couple of years ago. And a lot of people still don't get it, or maybe they think they get it, but they are kind of failing to see the full scope of what they can do and how they can think bigger and accomplish a lot more with this stuff. It's kind of hard to quantify the value, but it's going to be a heck of a lot more than the cost to get into this course. And we're going to cap this. So if you want to get on this, don't wait around. Okay. Once this is full, it's full. And for those of you who were here and sat through this all the way to the end, I want to thank you for your time and for hanging out with us. We're going to leave this open for a few more minutes. So if you guys want to think about it, sign up as soon as you can, because it's probably going to fill up really fast, and it's going to be an amazing journey when we go through this. Any last thoughts or anything you want to share, Mike?
You know, Seth, when you first asked me to run this program with you, I thought there's no way, man. ChatGPT is amazing. Every single person on my team uses it. Not a day that goes by that I don't use it. And I talk to so many investors that don't use it. And I ask them why, and I tell them a couple of things it can do, and it just doesn't seem to click. And I thought, Seth, you really want me to work with you to give the secret sauce to everybody? And then I was like, you know, most people don't take action. And because of that, the couple that do, they'll have massive success. Most of them won't. And that'll be good because it'll give us an edge up on everybody else. But it took a while to think about that till I'm like, you know, people that are excited about this, I want to share it with them, because along the way, they're going to learn amazing things. And what I really hope is they learn some phenomenal things that you and I haven't even thought of yet.
Yeah.
I mean, the possibilities are endless. I don't know about you, but I am so excited about this. I'm so excited to show others what's going on. And then I'm so excited about, after we've shown others what's rocking and rolling, for us to them show us some stuff that it's like, wow.
Yeah, I'm sure we're going to learn stuff from this.
Oh my gosh, I am so stoked. I really am. This is going to be great.
Yeah, I agree. And just so you know the timing of when we're going to do this. So the dates that we have picked out, it's going to be Tuesdays. It's going to be July 9, July 16, July 23, and July 30. So once a week. And these are going to be probably hour-long sessions. They'll probably go a little bit long, depending on what kind of Q&A we have coming in. But the time will be from 2 p.m. to 3 p.m. Eastern time. So that's 1 to 2 p.m. Central time. You know, do the math, whatever time zone you're in. That's when it's going to be. And if people are not able to make it to this, these are all going to be recorded. So you can always follow up and check them out and see whatever notes and things we share afterwards. But if you want to be in on the actual live sessions, that's when they're going to happen. But again, even if you can't be there, we're going to cover some really cool things, and you'll be able to follow up whenever you do have a chance to watch the recordings in case you can't make it. But Mike, again, I want to thank you for your time and your willingness to help me out with this. I know you're a genius in more ways than one. I'm really glad to have you on board helping me out. And for everybody here who is hanging out, thanks for hanging out with us. We will leave the card open for a couple more minutes, and I hope you're able to join us. Thanks again, everybody.
I'll see y'all soon.
See ya.